there, it's Christy with the Chirp YouTube channel. I hope you're having a great day. I certainly am. The weather has finally started cooling down here. It's only about 82 right now, and that's still pretty hot for this time of year, but I see improvement, and that's the important thing. Another place that I love to see improvement is in the lives and the skills of the children we serve, the children I work with on a regular basis. And communication is, of course, one of the foundational skills for having a successful and happy life. And this is part of my series on using a communication book. This is video number 4 in this series, and this video is going to be about beginning use of sentence structure. In the previous steps, please do go and watch those because you won't get the proper foundation for this video if you haven't already seen them. I have linked all of those videos down below, so just go and watch them in order, and then this video will make much more sense to you. Once our child has demonstrated the ability to distinguish between pictures and to discriminate the item she does want from the item or items that she doesn't want, then it's time to move on to sentence structure. I should add at this point that discrimination needs to be between multiple different pictures. So if you are still at the stage where your child is discriminating between just 2 pictures, you need to add some extra pictures before you move on to the sentence structure phase. So you might want the inside of your child's book to move from 2 pictures to 3 pictures to 4 pictures, and then you might want to fill up the page with different pictures. Usually this part happens pretty quickly once the child is able to discriminate between 2. Usually discriminating 3 or 4 or 5 isn't that much different. Sometimes that is a different story for particular students, but usually it's not that big of a step. So we want to make sure that the child is able to discriminate between a wide variety of different pictures before we move to the sentence structure phase. In the sentence structure phase, our book looks like this on the front. You'll notice we have an I want and a space and a please. I want, please. This is the kind of sentence that we want to teach first because it's the most helpful. Obviously, it's not the most polite because we're not saying, may I have, we're not saying I would like. We're simplifying everything to make it the easiest for our child to reproduce. It makes for a really nice sentence. I want blocks, please. I want water, please. It's very useful. With help initially from the model, the child opens the book, picks out the picture, puts it on the front, and then points to each of the items after making sure that you're paying attention. Once again, by this point, because we've done the other stages, the child should know that she needs to get the attention of her communication partner before she communicates anything. Otherwise, it's not meaningful because no one is listening. So by this stage, the child should have that down and should probably be attending to you, whether you're listening or not, whether you're looking or not. And that's something that the model who is helping the child should be paying attention to. If the child is just pointing, we need to back up because that's not going to work. It's just going to be frustrating. And once again, at any stage, if you see your child not doing the things that she did in previous stages, you need to back up to those stages, even if it's just for that day or that week. Sometimes when a child learns a new motor skill, for example, sometimes communication will take a nosedive for a little while the child's brain is focusing on that other skill. So if a child isn't able to show you the skill that she was showing you last week, we need to back up to wherever that was. We need to not insist that she function at level 4 if today she can only function at level 2. That's really important as we gauge our child's development, we need to make sure that we're not driving things. We are teaching, we are supporting, we are encouraging, but we're not doing things for the child, and we're not trying to force the child to be at a developmental stage she can't maintain. Assuming that the child kept all of the skills from the previous 3 stages, then we are ready to support her in this stage. So I will be the communication partner, and there will be a model there with the student, ideally. Sometimes I have played both of these parts because I was the only one available. However, the goal is that the child, along with the model's help, would point. The model would say, "I want, train, please," after making sure that I am paying attention. If I'm not helping the child pat me on the leg or making a noise, something like that, to make sure that I'm paying attention, and then helping the child, "I want, train, please." I, as the communication partner, would say, "Okay, train." I would get the train. We would play for a certain amount of time, and then we would start the process over. Since you have already watched the other videos, you know that routine. And in fact, I recently posted a video on me working on this requesting practice with a little guy in my classroom who is on the one picture, stage 1 of this process with using visuals to communicate. So if you would like to see how that looks, even though it's at a child who's in a different phase of this process than this video is about, check out the video. There will be a little card that flashes up there, and you can take a look at that. Every time the child makes a request, I put the most preferred item in a different spot. Then I close the book and lay it down on the floor again, and I wait. Waiting is a big part of this process. If I'm always the initiator, then the child doesn't learn to initiate. She waits until someone says, "What do you want?" And then she points to the picture or hands you the card or uses the sentence strip or whatever the case is. I need to wait. If the child is not responding, I know she wants something, but she hasn't really gotten up the gumption to initiate, that's when the model would step in and maybe open the book. Or maybe take the child's hand and put it on the pictures so that it's just a prompt, "Oh yeah, I want to play something." Maybe this time it's aliens. So once again, that model is important. That model is there to provide a little bit of a step ladder if the child isn't able to reach that skill without some extra support. It is important at this stage to also use verbal language. The model or the communication partner, if that's all you have, should every single time have the child point to every single one very clearly and say, "I want aliens, please. I want train, please. I want fruit snacks, please." Every single time you should be verbalizing this sentence with whatever the child requested in the middle. This is usually the stage where kids start becoming much more verbal. It doesn't always happen, but this is the stage where I've seen it really start to click with kids. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because of the length of time that you've been practicing with visuals so far, but it's fantastic when that happens. So be looking for that. Be aware that the way that you say the sentence is how your child is going to learn to say it. So if you say, "I want fruit snacks, please," or "I want fruit snacks, please," your child is going to mimic your tone and your speed and all of those things. So be clear, be pleasant when you repeat the words, and please do remember it's also really important to say it from the child's perspective, just like you see it here. Don't turn it around and say, "Oh, you want fruit snacks? Okay." Don't do it, because your child will probably start saying, "You want fruit snacks, please." They get a little confused about pronouns, and I have some videos about that. There's one right up there, so look at that because it's very important we model exactly what we want the child to say. I want aliens, please. Exactly what we want them to say. That's what they're going to learn. That's what they're going to repeat. That was stage 4. We're getting so far. It's very exciting. I hope your child is benefiting, or your students, and I hope that your brain is expanding at the possibilities of how you might use this system with the kids in your life. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Bye.